This is Andi Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I'm delighted to join by Xavier Miller here in London. Xavier, how are you?
I'm good, man. How are you, man?
I'm good. It's been a while since we last spoke. I'm trying to think back to the last time I saw you. It's been certainly before. It might have been. I'm losing myself trying to think, but it's certainly been a long time since we last caught up, Xavier. So, obviously, you're getting ready for Yusuf Kamaru's ring return on Saturday night. Terrific fight with Jorge Castaneda. Why did you guys agree to this fight first and foremost?
Because to me personally, Yusuf is technically the best super featherweight in the country. I mean, I respect the other guys. You know, they're very, very good fighters. But I'm talking as a package. Yusuf is, to me, is the most versatile super featherweight in the country. I've had Yusuf since he was about 16 years old. He did his last 2 years in the amateurs with me and then turned pro with me. So it's altogether I've known Yusuf for about 9 years. He's a fighter that I've spent years building. I know how good he is. Dillian knows how good he is. And Yusuf wants this kind of challenge. I mean, I want Yusuf to eventually go on to win a world title. He has to box guys like this to work his way up the rankings. So I'm looking forward to Castaneda fight.
Talk about this fight with Jorge Castaneda. Then, I was there when he fought over Jones. It was a terrific fight. What are you expecting? Eddie keeps talking about it's going to be a war. Yeah. As a trainer, I don't imagine something you want, but is it something which you expect?
Yeah, we'll go to war with him. Fine. I mean, like I said, Yusuf's very versatile. He'll get a gauge and a feel of what he needs to do when the fight starts. He's a very intelligent fighter. Yusuf will stand and go to war with anybody. In the amateurs, all he wanted to do was just go forward and just have a war with everybody. So Yusuf's used to that kind of fight. I know Castaneda's used to that kind of fight. And he did look very good against Ofer Jones. I know it's a guy that in Matchroom signed, put a lot of praise and belief behind. But Castaneda did fight Ofer Jones in Ofer Jones' fifth pro fight, which means that he's, your fifth pro fight, really you're a novice. It's embryonic stage, very early in your career. So, it was a risk. They took a risk. It was a very close fight. I only had maybe a round or two in it. But you're fighting Yusuf Kamaru, who's, I think this is his 15th pro fight. So he's got a lot more pro experience than Ofer Jones. So I'm expecting, obviously, a different outcome for one. And everything Castaneda's good at, Yusuf is a little bit better. So that's why I expect to win.
Victory here for Yusuf. What next? Where does this victory rank him? You said he's already the best in Britain in your eyes. So what goes beyond that?
Yeah, I mean, my vision from the beginning, Yusuf was signed with a small promoter before, and I did stress to them what I wanted really was to, get a world ranking and start working towards a world title. He's had all these fights, coming to his 15th fight now, in preparation for this. He needs to step up in levels, and a WBC silver will get you that world ranking. I want him to fight guys like this and just keep getting better. I mean, he's had a very, very good education. I spent years teaching him. What he needs now is to learn on the job. A lot like what Dillian's done. Dillian's boxed good guys, and that's why he keeps getting better. This is what I want for Yusuf.
Now, I'm going to come on to Dillian. I'm sure you've been asked about the entire situation 100 times today. So now it's going to be the 101st time you'll be asked about it. When Dillian was in camp and he had the initial shoulder injury, was it an ongoing thing which he was trying to battle through? Can you just kind of tell me as to when you initially thought there was an issue there and when doctors came in and looked into it and what have you?
Yeah, I mean, the training camp was outstanding. We got in 4 big southpaws, taller than Dillian, bigger than Dillian. A couple of guys have got very good amateur experience, done a lot of good things in the amateurs. One of them had 20 professional fights. Technically were really good. They were giving Dillian really good work, and we were just getting better every spar. But the period between the injury and us cancelling the fight was quite close, because obviously we could see Dillian wasn't able to operate like he usually can, and so we made a decision as a team. And when you guys got the news, it's not much different to when the issue actually happened.
What went through your mind when people started to suggest that Dillian had pulled out with a Tyson Fury fight in the back of his mind?
I'm not an emotional person, so when people are saying these things, it doesn't affect me at all. Dillian's a guy that's never pulled out of a fight. Dillian has beaten much better fighters than Otto Wallin. Let's just be honest. He's beaten better fighters. So why would this be the fight that we decide to pull out? He's injured. The injury is genuine. I don't know why anybody would suggest anything otherwise. It's not in Dillian's character, his nature. even with the injury, still wanted to fight. Everyone knows what Dillian is like. We have to pull him back and say, listen, we've got to be sensible here. So those suggestions are, they're just ridiculous. And I don't really pay any attention to it. I'm looking forward. I just want him to get healthy now. Obviously, his health is my priority. He's got to be a healthy fighter. Boxing is a dangerous business. As soon as he's healthy, he'll get back to camp.
You mentioned get back to camp. The fight which everybody's talking about is the Tyson Fury one, which Eddie's expecting to be ordered officially within the next couple of weeks at the WBC convention. Tyson is the man who many consider the best in the heavyweight division and also one of the best in the world. What does Dillian have to do to overcome Tyson? What does Dillian possess that will trouble Tyson?
I mean, you ask like most fighters, the way they want to win a world title is to beat a world champion. And everyone views Tyson Fury as number one. He's the WBC champion. That's the guy we want. Dillian's always campaigned to fight for the WBC title. So now, obviously, hopefully, that's what's going to happen next. And Tyson Fury, a very good fighter, but Dillian is very, very versatile. It's not something that Tyson would have seen before. And we've got a few different game plans of how to deal with Tyson Fury. And it's the fight that I've always wanted for Dillian. I'm looking forward to it.
Exactly. Final thing, there's a lot of talk about Anthony Joshua and his training position currently and who's going to be working with him moving forwards. What's been your take on all of the rumours and obviously AJ's recent interview saying that he's still with Rob and his current training setup, but we have seen him in America working with the likes of Virgil Hunter, Eddie Reynoso, amongst others, just getting knowledge from them. What's your take on seeing all of that?
Easiest response is this: honesty. It's chatty patty. I don't get involved in other people's business. That's Anthony Joshua's team. What they decide to do with him going forward is completely up to them. I don't really care what happens in anyone else's camp because I train Dillian Whyte. I train Yusuf Kamari. I've got a lot of guys coming up through my amateur system and they've already turned pro. I'm concerned about what's going on in my gym and my coaches and my team. I don't really care what's happening with either Joshua's team or anybody else.
That's fair enough, and we'll leave it there, Xavier, because I know that there's a queue forming behind me now. So I appreciate your time. Thanks, Beat Boxing Social. It's been a pleasure to catch up with you.
Welcome. Take care.